Now, the big change that I think most people need to be aware of, and the one that frankly I'm kind of annoyed at, the E movement speed change. Instead of being 30 to 65%, depending on how many points you've got in it, it is going to 25 to 55%.
Dang. Call me so I can make it juicy for you.
Good morning, everybody, or at least it's morning for me. Thank you for clicking on today's video. I got some bad news or good news, depending on how you look at it. Udyr's getting nerfed. Obviously, is one trick. A lot of people have been asking me on stream my thoughts and feelings and opinions on it, so I figured I'd make a YouTube video. Number one, to let you guys know what the changes are real quickly, what I think about them. Number two there, and then, of course, in general, how I think it'll impact the game. So first off, if we take a look at this champion nerf category, Udyr, your lightning Q damage on monster bonus damage is getting reduced from 20 to 15. I assume that means the lightning bolts, so each lightning bolt does 5 less damage. And then your awaken R monster damage is also going to do across the board 5 less damage per tick, and then at max rank 15 less damage per tick to monsters. So essentially your awakenings are going to do less damage, and it's going to slow down your clear speed once you get to those higher ranks of R. Now, the big change that I think most people need to be aware of, and the one that frankly I'm kind of annoyed at, the E movement speed change. Instead of being 30 to 65%, depending on how many points you've got in it, it is going to 25 to 55%. So in addition to losing farm speed, we're also losing, you guessed it, 10% movement speed at the max rank of E, which is a very significant nerf to Tiger Udyr and damage carry playstyle Udyr in particular. In addition, there are a few other changes that I'm going to shout out in the system nerfs category, because these are items that Udyr loves. First off is Faded Ashes and Liandry's. They are also doing less damage to jungle camps next patch. And then Storm Surge, which I've been building, some other Udyrs have been building it as well, seeing a slight nerf to just essentially the on-hit damage. I think we're still going to be, if you want movement speed and magic pin, it's still going to be your go-to item, so I'm not really worried about that one. But the Udyr changes are big. You know, I'm going to say this in the nicest way that I can. Riot, it's a swing and a miss. If you're trying to nerf Udyr, this won't do anything, because humbly, there are really and truthfully 3 play styles to Udyr right now. You've got Tank Udyr. Tank Udyr is what you see primarily above 500 LP Masters. If you go down an Udyr leaderboard and you look at the highest ranked Udyrs in the world, almost all of them are playing Liandry's into Deadmans into full tank. Now, does that mean you have to play this playstyle to get above 500 LP? No, you can play other playstyles and get to 1000 LP. It's very possible, but the majority of players are playing full tank and high elo right now. There's a second play style, which is full AP. That's where you just, you either do Liandry's Shadow Flame or you do Storm Surge Shadow Flame or something, and you just go full damage. And then the third way you can play it is Tiger Udyr, which is where you Q max, and then you play primarily Tiger damage with, or AD with bruiser items. Here's the issue. The E movement speed nerf, in my opinion, only affects Tiger and damage carry playstyles. It does not affect tank playstyles, which is the dominant form of Udyr. Tank Udyr is max W second, so unless you get to literally level 18, most tank Udyrs will never feel this E movement speed change, and it doesn't actually slow them down. In addition, the Awakening is not the powerhouse of Udyr's clear speed. I know that, yes, we love the Awakening damage, but unless you're building Experimental Hexplate or Malignance or Ultimate Hunter, you're only able to use your Awakening every other camp on Udyr. That does not mean you can use your Awakening every single camp, and so your clear speed really won't be affected enough to impact your win rate. In my opinion, with this monster bonus damage change, it's negligible, and it doesn't really do anything outside of slow down your tempo just a little bit. But in my opinion, it's a band-aid on the underlying issue, which is, if you had to ask me as the Udyr player, Lightning Q should not scale with AP, and it should not do a ton of single target damage at level 1. For instance, I think it's very dumb that a Phoenix player can put 5 points in R and have 1 point in Q, and every single time they're using Lightning Q on the blue buff, it shouldn't do damage unless you put points into it, in my opinion. That would simultaneously nerf the playstyle and take away a lot of the clear speed from Udyr, so that way Tiger Udyr would actually have a meaningful place in the meta. That is how I would do it. In addition, Leandri's is getting nerfed. Faded Ashes is getting nerfed. I do think combined with the Faded Ashes nerfs, you will see some, your clear will be 5 to 10 seconds slower after, before Leandri's, and then after Leandri's, it'll probably be 3 to 5 seconds slower than it used to be. But that, as a jungle player, I'm going to be honest, Udyr is already 15 seconds faster than everybody else in the game with clearing. So, that it's not really going to change a whole lot about what makes Udyr Udyr. And in my opinion, it's a very lazy way to nerf him. I think what they did is they literally just went to the stats website, saw that the most popular form of Udyr was Leandri's with R-Max, E-Max, or R-Max, W-Max, E-Max with Deadman second. So they were like, we've got to nerf the clear speed and the movement speed because those are the two things that seem to be the meta right now in Udyr. And the frustrating part is it's going to pigeonhole us even more into building Deadmans. If they thought that taking away the movement speed was going to, bring him in line with the other champions, Udyr players, if they weren't before, are now even more so than last patch, going to prioritize building movement speed items to make up for the fact that we have no monkey's agility, we have no passive movement speed, we have no gap closer, and our Awaken E, if we use it, we've got no damage. So it means we can't even use our Awaken E most times to get that juicy movement speed that we're looking for. So it's a very interesting time to be an Udyr player, because my prediction is they're going to need another nerf after this and another 3 or 4 patches. That's fine. They're going to need another nerf. But what happens when they nerf him again? And they nerf him again. And then they change the champion. Finally, they change how the Q interacts with the jungle camps and single isolated targets, and if you don't put points into it. What if they finally change all that, and then we're left with a champion that's unplayable? And this is what happened to old Udyr, by the way. If you're wondering, this is literally the cycle of pre-rework Udyr. He used to be such a fun champion because the Tiger Dot and the R procs were so good. Feral Flare used to be so good on Udyr, but they nerfed Udyr into oblivion and then reduced Feral Flare from the game. And then old Udyr was left with his you-know-what in his hands because he was like, what do I do here? And so I just have a feeling that's going to be the exact same route they're going to take this time. Riot historically has not done well with balancing Udyr. If anybody actually played Udyr, they would tell Riot, hey, nobody maxes E second unless they're playing Tiger or Damage, and both of those playstyles are not really that strong right now. It's better to nerf the W scaling or the Lightning Q, or change something with how the R tracks. Or, in my opinion, the best nerf they could have done, Riot, please take my... If you want to nerf Udyr, here's how you do it. Add 10 seconds at every single rank for the Awakening cooldown. To my knowledge, I think early game it's a 40-second cooldown. At level 11, it's a 30-second cooldown. And at level 16, it's a 20-second cooldown for your Awakening. Instead of 40, 30, 20, make it 50, 40, 30. That immediately separates good Udyr players from bad Udyr players because you'd have to be more patient on your Awakening. It would increase the value of Ultimate Hunter items or Ultimate Haste items, and it would bring it more in line to make it more fun to play against. And in addition, it would make it to where you couldn't spam your Awakenings, which I certainly can do on a lot of my builds late game. I don't know about you guys, but on my Experimental Hexplate Tiger, I got Lightning Q up every 5 seconds if I'm auto-attacking, right? So, that's not fun for anybody to play against. Nobody wants to get Lightning Q'd in the face twice. Bring down the damage is another option they have instead of nerfing the frickin' movement speed. How about we nerf the damage, right? Do you know how not fun it is to play a slow champion without a gap closer? It's just not fun. We're going to be maxing E second almost every single time now because we're that much slower if we're playing damage. It's not going to change anything about Tiger or carry play styles. It's certainly going to buff Phoenix. Literally, they just buffed Tank Udyr with this change. This is going to change more players into playing WMAX second Phoenix Udyr because it didn't get changed really. And frankly, WMAX RMAX with Leandri's plus Sunfire Aegis or whatever that item's called, Unending Despair. But the point is Leandri's with any other clear speed item makes it ridiculous. Even Abyssal Mask is really good because if you don't know, your jungle camps have magic resist. So if you take off magic resist from your jungle camps, you're doing extra damage. So even building an Abyssal Mask Leandries on tank Udyr is still now going to be faster. And especially if they're going to be nerfing, this Awaken R and Awaken Q damage, you know what that means? Your passive burn is that much more valuable, and it's not really changing anything about your non-Awaken R burn. So, my opinion, this was a swing and a miss, Riot. I really didn't like these changes. I do agree with Riot, by the way, that Udyr does need to be nerfed. I'm not just a salty one trick. Udyr does need to be nerfed. I'm right there with you. I'm excited for these changes because hopefully it brings the ban rate down and I can play my champion more. I'm actually excited to see Udyr getting nerfed because the ban rate is through the roof right now in high elo, at least on North America. Don't know how it is around the world, but on North America, the Udyr ban rate is very high. Hopefully, people see these changes and they're like, oh my god, Udyr's getting gutted. And what I know is that he's not actually getting gutted. It's just a quality of life change that makes it more frustrating to play Udyr, which is, in my opinion, the laziest type of nerf. They should do a more creative nerf instead of taking this approach, in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are my thoughts. This patch, to my understanding, is coming out next Wednesday. It's not live today. It'll be live a week from today, or I guess 6 days from today. If you want to catch more content like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and head over to Twitch if you want to see me play live, and I will catch you there. Bye.
Dang. Call me so I can make it juicy for ya.